The Zagros Mountains near the Iran-Iraq border force aviators into a brutal compromise. The jagged peaks and steep valleys provide excellent terrain masking, allowing aircraft to fly low and let the granite swallow radar waves. But that same geography allows hostile forces to set up devastating short-range anti-aircraft ambushes entirely hidden from view. Navigating this terrain at night was a flight of 2 U.S. F-15E Strike Eagles. The Air Force utilizes the Strike Eagle as its ultimate bomb truck. It is heavily armed, designed to carry thousands of pounds of precision-guided mass to hunt down deeply buried command bunkers and mobile missile launchers. To strike a deeply buried target, a jet carrying a heavy bunker buster munition cannot stay hidden in the valleys. The pilot has to execute a sharp pull-up maneuver to release the weapon. Doing so forces the aircraft above the mountains, breaking the radar horizon and instantly exposing the jet to mobile surface-to-air missile batteries waiting in the gorge below. A highly mobile SAM system achieved a lock. 2 missiles left the rails. The pilot dumped flares and pulled high-G evasive maneuvers, successfully spoofing the first. But the second missile's proximity fuse triggers, detonating near the airframe. The resulting shockwave causes catastrophic hydraulic failure, forcing the crew to eject into the pitch-black freezing mountains. The moment those parachutes open, the U.S. military activates the Sandy Protocol. A single downed pilot triggers an immediate, massive systemic escalation, committing millions of dollars in advanced stealth fighters, drones, and dedicated rescue units to a high-risk extraction deep inside hostile territory. Because the crash occurred near the border, an A-10 Thunderbolt flying nearby is diverted to provide rescue escort. Down in the dark, Iranian quick reaction forces are already closing in on the downed airmen. The A-10 dives into the valley, executing a low-level strafing run with its 30mm cannon to neutralize the approaching convoy. That aggression comes with a severe tactical cost. At low altitude, the roar of the engines and the bright streak of tracers give away the A-10's exact coordinates. Ground soldiers, armed with thousands of Chinese-made shoulder-fired missiles, track the Warthog as it banks hard and bleeds off airspeed. An infrared-guided missile finds its mark, shredding the right engine. The aircraft survives only because of its legendary titanium armor tub, allowing the pilot to limp the crippled jet toward the coast and safely punch out over the Persian Gulf. With the pilot still stranded, the primary combat search and rescue package launches. This heavily coordinated fleet is led by an HC-130J Combat King, acting as an airborne command center, managing the airspace and extending the mission by serving as a mid-air gas station. Below the command plane fly 2 H-60D helicopters, call signs Pedro 11 and Pedro 12. They stay strictly under the radar, topping off their fuel in mid-air from the HC-130J to maximize their loiter time as they push deep into the Zagros Mountains. Extracting a pilot from a contested environment requires a highly precarious balance. You have to maintain deep penetration stealth and massive fuel endurance, all while flying heavy, slow-moving extraction helicopters that are exceptionally vulnerable to ground fire. To protect those vulnerable helicopters, F-35 stealth fighters loiter at high altitude, providing overwatch. The F-35's geometry and radar-absorbent materials make it effectively invisible to long-range early warning radar. Look at this diagram comparing detection methods. While the airframe easily deflects radio frequency radar, it relies on a single Pratt & Whitney engine. That engine produces a massive heat plume. Modern air defense networks exploit this exact limitation. Instead of pinging the sky with active radar, they use passive thermal sensors to scan for infrared anomalies. Because these systems emit no energy themselves, the F-35's radar warning receivers remain totally silent. The pilot gets no alert that they are being tracked. To survive a thermal lock, the jet relies on its distributed aperture system. 6 infrared cameras positioned around the aircraft project a 360-degree spherical view. The moment a missile launches, this system detects the intense heat of the incoming rocket motor and instantly alerts the pilot. The pilot executes high-G maneuvers and deploys magnesium flares. These pyrotechnics burn at temperatures exceeding the aircraft's own exhaust, designed to overwhelm the missile's seeker head and force it to chase the decoy. Modern detection technology has forced air combat beyond the simple geometry of radar. The battlefield has become a high-stakes race of physics, matching massive thermal signatures against the speed and logic of advanced infrared countermeasures. Back on the ground, dawn approaches. Pedro 11 locates the downed pilot's strobe and touches down in the dirt. Pedro 12 circles overhead, providing cover with its .5 caliber machine guns. Then, a concealed Soviet-era Zu-23 anti-aircraft gun opens fire. Heavy armor-piercing rounds tear straight through Pedro 12 as it orbits, severing transmission lines. The crippled chopper is forced into a hard, controlled crash near the rescue site. The Airborne Command Center coordinates an immediate response. The orbiting F-35 stealth fires drop precision munitions through the cloud cover, completely silencing the anti-aircraft gun in seconds. Now, it's a desperate fight for survival. Under covering fire, the downed helicopter crew and the A-10 pilot sprint to the surviving bird. Pedro 11 takes everyone on board, instantly maxing out its weight limits. The pilot pulls the collective to the stops. With the engines screaming at maximum power, the overloaded helicopter barely clears the tree line, diving straight back into the valleys to race for the Iraqi border. For all the billions of dollars spent on stealth technology and integrated sensors, the doctrine of leaving no one behind ultimately relies on raw pilot skill and brute engine power when an advanced network is beaten by a low-tech ambush. How does a slow, overloaded helicopter survive a flight path through a heavily defended airspace, protected by an integrated air defense network? It survives because military planners rely on a tactic called time on target. Cruise missiles from escort ships, stealth bomber payloads, and strikes from massive floating cities like the USS Abraham Lincoln are mathematically choreographed to impact critical targets across the entire country at the exact same second. This diagram illustrates the cyber and electronic warfare assault. The U.S. launches miniature air-launched decoys, injecting false data directly into enemy radar. To an operator, the screen suddenly floods with hundreds of false targets that look identical to an incoming squadron of F-15s. While panicked air defense batteries try to lock onto the decoys, actual stealth fighters slip through completely undetected. They dismantle the surface-to-air batteries one by one, keeping the airspace clear for the rescue helicopters. Pulling a single pilot out of a mountain gorge requires a systemic shock to an entire nation's defense grid. In modern combat, survival depends entirely on owning the network.